The people of this country are getting angrier and angrier. They're targeting specifically young white girls to do this to. Close the hotels down and kick them out of the country. Stop tolerating. We're at the point where we've gone past tolerating. Britain is not a terrible place, but we're losing the things that make Britain a great place. Do you know what I mean? If the British government aren't careful, they're going to have a full-scale uprising on their hands. A wave of protests have hit the UK. I'm Izzy.
And I'm Garcia.
And welcome to Informally Informed.
You mean another wave of another summer of protests?
Another summer of protests.
Dubbed the Great British Summer of Protests.
Yeah. So there's various different types of protests going on. Shall we start with the anti-migrant ones?
Yeah, we might as well hit the ground running. The Bell Hotel ones.
Yeah. There have been protests outside migrant hotels. Would you like to know where there have been some?
Sure.
Okay, here it goes. Epping, Essex.
Yeah.
Canary Wharf, Islington, Norwich, Bournemouth, Portsmouth, Waterlooville, Leeds, Liverpool, Nottinghamshire, Cardiff, Southampton, Clacton-on-Sea, Yeovil, Dover.
Clacton-on-Sea?
I know.
Not Clacton-on-Sea.
Yeovil, Dover, Hull, Altrincham, Manchester, Aldershot, Newcastle, Exeter, Bristol, Newark, Rugby. And those are all within the last month.
None in St Helens. Come on, St Helens, step your game up.
Quite a significant amount.
Yeah, it's not been a peaceful summer, has it?
Well, I mean, I would argue that most of the protests have been peaceful.
I meant peaceful in terms of, contentment. This has been the summer of our discontent.
Yes, so the Epping ones obviously started due to one of the migrants in the hotel sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl. And, so in the last couple of months alone, in June, these are presumably migrants. Portsmouth, there was a rape of a woman, and a gang of immigrants attacked another woman outside Stockton Primary School. In July the 16th, illegal migrants were charged with raping a schoolgirl. July 19th, migrant men attacked a woman and child in Heaton Park in Manchester. July the 20th, an illegal migrant raped a 12-year-old above a shop in Birmingham. July the 21st, migrants stabbed a 15-year-old girl in Northolt in London. And then July 27th, migrants charged with a sexual assault in Norwich. And on the same day, another was charged with the sexual assault. That was the Epping one.
Do you know what I'm realising?
August the 3rd.
We're becoming Sweden.
August the 3rd, a migrant was charged with rape in Warwickshire. Same day, a different person was charged with attempted kidnapping in Stockport, and on the same day another migrant was arrested for attempted murder in Southampton. The following day, August 4th, a migrant was accused of kidnapping and strangling and raping a 12-year-old girl in Nuneaton. That was the one where she was with her dad in broad daylight. Another one in August, 8-year-old girl was either sexually assaulted or raped, don't know which one, in Lambeth. They're all within the last month, apart from the two at the beginning, which were in June. That's a lot of rapes and sexual assaults.
Do you remember, a couple of years ago, we were having this conversation about what was happening in Sweden? We have become Sweden. I'd hate to see excuse me, lose my voice, sorry. I'd hate to see the sexual assault and rape statistics now, because I fear that what we've discussed was going to happen. If you don't know what's happened in Sweden, look it up. They invited 110,000 migrants into their country, and now it's got one of the highest sexual assault rape statistics in Europe. And that's exactly what we've done.
Well, we've allowed 170,000 to come in, nearly all of which have been young men, and that's illegally. That's not including the legal ones. So no wonder everybody's pissed off when they're hearing reports like those ones in July 19th, July 20th, July 21st, July 16th. It's practically on a daily basis at this point. We're hearing news articles and other stories of young girls and women being sexually assaulted, raped, kidnapped by illegal migrants that the British government are putting up in hotels free of charge, giving free mobile phones. God knows. And then Keir Starmer's all like, oh, well, the far right are protesting. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm sorry, but seriously.
No, I agree with you. I completely agree with you. And that's a novelty. But I do 100% agree with you on this. And in terms of like what we're seeing is more and more violence towards women and more pressure on the police to do something. And instead what they're doing is turning on the citizens. And the tax-paying members of society, they're turning on them.
And basically, if you don't think sexual assault and rape against the young people of this country is a good idea, you're basically, according to Keir Starmer, a Nazi, a member of the far right.
It's an interesting situation that we find ourselves in. So, can we talk quickly about this trigger? The trigger that sparked the Bell Hotel.
The Epping one.
Yeah, the Epping one.
Yeah.
So, in July, because everything bad happens in July, the protest ignited after, like you said, an asylum seeker at the Bell Hotel was charged with sexual assault in a 14-year-old girl. I want to get that very clear because legally. Allegedly.
But charged. I've not said he did it. I said he was charged.
Yep.
And all the things.
So escalation to that. So days later, from the 17th to the 20th, like you just mentioned, hundreds of people, even though the media made it look like thousands, hundreds of people gathered outside of the Bell Hotel, and it started out as a peaceful protest, as most of these things do, and then disorder broke out. Police were attacked, objects thrown, vehicle damage, several officers were injured, arrests followed. Arrests always follow these protests, but never the people that you're protesting about. Have you ever noticed that? They seem to be protected under law, and I don't understand this.
Yeah.
And then if you say anything about this, you're suddenly anti-everything.
But this is the thing. People are so angry at this two-tier system that we've got in this country, where foreign illegal immigrants are being given special status in this country compared to its citizens. In a recent poll, 70% said that they are worried Britain is on the precipice of political violence, and one in five people said that they would consider taking sorry, my handwriting. 1 in 5 said they would consider taking part in political violence because of the way that things are in the United Kingdom right now. Australia and Canada are advising their citizens to exercise a high degree of caution when coming to the UK due to the threat of terrorism, sexual assault and common petty crimes. In Mexico, of all places, they're telling people that if they're travelling to the UK to not have their watches on display. In London, violent crime is up 30% in the last decade, knife crime soaring, 44% rise in street crime, millions of antisocial behaviour, and that's from the Home Office. Every 15 minutes a mobile phone is stolen now. There's adverts up on signs around London saying mind the grab, and so put your phone away in case it gets grabbed. This is not normal. This is not conducive to a civilized society, and there's an obvious cause to this.
But what bothered me is that we saw what was happening in Sweden. We saw what happened.
But look who the mayor is, Sadiq Khan. Everything's fine, folks. He was asked in an interview, do you honestly believe crime is down since you took office? He's like, yeah. And the guy just looked at him like, what planet are you living on?
They're just lying to themselves and subsequently lying to the public. And the thing is, it doesn't, even your more slower members of society can see what's happening because they see the changes in their own societies. You know what I've noticed? And I pointed this out the other day. I don't know who I was talking to, maybe Jenny. I was saying that, like, when the migrants come into Dover, right, or wherever it is that they come into, Dover, they then ship them up to the up north. And, alright, they've started shipping them into Essex. They've started shipping them into Birmingham. They're shipping them into places where there's already not enough space for people, where there's not enough homes. And they're taking up these hotels, which are creating environments where regular people cannot. Do you remember that place that we used to go to? There was still a migrant hotel in the place that we live, and we used to do breakfast tours of the place that we live because of St Helens, because we were night shifts.
Up by Limewood, where there used to be a migrant hotel, but then the people protested and they moved it.
Yeah, they had to, because I started not going there, even though I like going there, but for the simple fact that I don't like being catcalled or followed. And I think that's fair.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's fair. And now...
They're not nice places.
But now in communities, it's like, if you say anything against that, then you're suddenly branded a racist.
We were getting abuse hurled at us. Just all we wanted to do was go for breakfast.
Yep. And it became an actual problem, like a real problem. And it's all these legal eagles out of anywhere that like, oh, you can't say that, you can't do that. Well, the government is spending so much time policing and legislating what the people of this country can and cannot say, that they have no money or time to spend on actually policing the people that need to be policed.
But they don't want to. That's the thing. They'd rather spend money brushing it under the carpet. But that's short-term thinking. Mm-hmm. Have they thought, because we're seeing it with the way these protests are coming, we've got a big one on the 13th of September in London, which I suppose thousands of people are going to go. I'm hoping to go, actually. I'm going to be
if
one
I've got it
people.
off, I'll go with you.
Yeah, absolutely. But the people of this country are getting angrier and angrier, and I don't think the government realise that at some point they're going to have enough. Violence is going to descend on the streets. 1 in 5 people to take part in political violence. That's 20% of the country. It only takes what? What's the figure? 3 or 4% of a population to make a revolution? They're on seriously thin ground. A civil war, I hate to be the one to, pull a Tim Pool, because he says this all the time.
But I agree with this.
But it's
brewing.
Virtually inevitable.
Can't you see it? I've been saying this for a
while. And at the same time, look at the kind of people that are coming in, right? What percentage of the Islamic world did it take for Iran to become a Christian, open, people? If you look at past videos of
1970s Iran,
people, women at the beach, women at the beaches in bikinis, all this sort of stuff, right? And now they can't even show their faces because the Islamic world took over. And if we're importing that, the same thing happened to Lebanon, also in the 70s, right? I think Iran was actually a little bit later than that. Do people not realise that this country, and again, obviously it depends where they're coming from. It's not, the Saudi Arabians and the UAE citizens are not doing it because they've been raised in a society where you don't do that. Certain Islamic countries have very, very low tolerance for Islamic extremism because they know what it does. They know, you go to Dubai, that shit ain't tolerated. But because we don't know about it and we think, everyone's just people, everyone's basically the same, and everyone believes basically the same, we have no idea how dangerous it is to be importing large numbers of people that have zero respect for women, that want to have Sharia law in this country.
It's a shame, and it's an obvious shame. And then the obvious shame here for me is that we have had, I wouldn't say that this is necessarily like it won't become a race war. It will be a religious war. Well, we need to stop equating religion and race.
Yeah.
Okay? Because we do that as a country. I don't know why we do that, but we do that. The situation that we're having, the untenable situation, is around a religion and religious views based in that, because they hide behind their religious views in order to do whatever they feel like they want to do. They're targeting specifically young white girls to do this to. Not saying that this doesn't happen to young black girls, but it's disproportionate.
It's disproportionate, but they are also targeting young black girls, and they're targeting young Sikh girls as well. But the vast majority...
young British girls.
The vast majority are white, yeah.
Yeah, it's young British girls. That's what I'm seeing here.
The Kafars.
Yes. And then I'm looking at this, and I'm like, all right, so where's the war going to erupt, and what's it going to be based on? Because for me, this is a religious situation. And some of these people are claiming religion, and they're not even religious. But we're not doing anything as a society to vet them. We're just letting them come in willy-nilly. And I recall back in, the height of the terror situation, that didn't someone say, I feel like it was some sort of caliphate or something, said that we will be exporting to you terror. And that's exactly what's happened right now.
If the British government aren't careful...
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have a full-scale uprising on their hands.
Oh.
Nobody wants to see that.
No one wants to see it, but I do think it's inevitable.
There's only so much that the British public can take. When it starts to have a serious impact on our daughters, nothing, I mean, no offence to the sons or something, but nothing gets a father quite as angry as his little girl.
Mm.
Not even a son, I'm sorry, but it's just the way that it is. Sorry to all you sons out there. But nothing quite gets a father riled up like something happening to his little girl. And when you've got thousands of them on the streets in this country determined to cause as much damage and as possible, what's Keir Starmer going to do? The only thing you can do is close the hotels down and kick them out of the country.
Well, the High Court has just delivered an injunction saying that the asylum seekers in the Bell Hotel have to be out by the 12th of September.
Where to?
Exactly that. And
a different hotel in another part of the country.
Exactly that.
Until the people there realise, and then they're doing protests. You can't just kick a can into a different part of town.
But that's exactly what they're doing. And then you know what the joke of this is? The part that pisses me off the most about this? Are taxes going up. So working people are paying for these people to be housed. We're paying for them to have free mobile phones and free everything. But the thing is this, right? We're also paying billions to France to keep them out. And I don't know which country it was. I feel like it was Greece. And I saw them frog marching them on a plane to take them back. And I was like, all right, cool. So it can be done then.
In Spain, a boat landed on the shores of Spain. Did you see that?
Yeah.
And all these local people that were just chilling on the days on the beach, rugby tackled them all to the ground, sat on them and waited for the police to turn up.
Yep.
Citizens arrest. Because it was a sunny, obviously it was Spain, of course it was a sunny day. But people were just chilling, tourists, and this freaking boat pulls up a dinghy full of illegal immigrants. And all the locals were like, fuck this shit.
I don't blame the Spanish for having had enough. And I'm wondering, because the British are known for... live and let live.
The tolerance.
Stop tolerating. We're at the point where we've gone past tolerating. And I'm not trying to spread... See, anytime anyone says anything about this, they get accused of spreading hate or anti-Muslim propaganda. The thing is, what I'm saying is anti-terrorism, anti this type of asylum. I'm anti that. You're supposed to claim asylum in the first safest country that you come to. Before you come to Britain, the island, you would have hit, from Africa, you would have hit Spain, France, Portugal, all of those places before you've sailed around the Mediterranean to come to the UK.
True, however, 2 points
I
want to come back on. The first one is the vast majority are not claiming asylum, because if they want to claim asylum, go through a port of entry, do it the legal way.
Yep.
Just like I know genuine refugees from places like...
genuine refugees who have claimed asylum.
Eritrea, places like Sudan.
Places like Jamaica. I know a Jamaican that's actually come and claimed asylum because Jamaica has got serious anti-homosexual laws.
Right? But the vast majority of people are not asylum seekers. They're poor countries. Poor does not make you an asylum seeker. I'm sorry, but it really doesn't.
Where are the
but on
women?
the other side of things, if there was a massive crisis like what we're seeing in Sudan, I don't think it's fair. I'm talking genuine refugees, not a scam artist. Genuine refugees, which were like 13% of all Syrians, that all people came in through the Syrian refugee crisis were actually from Syria, right? To put it all on the burden of the first country that they reach. I do think it's reasonable to share out genuine refugees amongst countries.
I think it's reasonable to share that out, but you do that through through proper means.
True, yeah.
I don't think it's... Sudan, because I'm sure I said it in a previous video, is the world's biggest humanitarian crisis, all right? What we're not seeing is asylum... is not even asylum seekers, because I refuse to call them asylum seekers because they've not come to us to claim asylum. These boat migrants coming from Sudan. That's what we're not seeing.
They're not coming from Sudan.
Exactly.
Sudan aren't claiming, the Sudanese aren't claiming...
They're not doing that. They're going to other African countries because Africa's a nation, is a continent of 56 countries, and not all of them are at war.
And that in itself just proves the point that they're genuine refugees.
Do you know what I mean? So I see your point, but that's not what these are doing.
I agree.
And the fact of the matter is, right, we are here, we're paying for all of this, the government is banning all these protests, trying to quell the fears of, they're not trying to quell to sort of ease the fear of the people. Keir Starmer is an incompetent leader.
Tell them what you told me earlier about the bills and the sneaking through.
So my phone died, so my notes have died with it. So what I read was that there is a bill that's going around, the anti-protesters bill, right? And there is already one that came into power at some point, 2000s, early 2000s, or late 2000s. And basically what the government has done is turned this bill and sort of sandwiched the pro-Palestinian protest, the Palestinian Action Group, that's what they call Palestinian Action, and the pro-Nazi groups into one. So when it's gone through, because obviously you know how our legal system works, to just go through the House of Commons, House of Lords, pass through the Commons, and then it's gone to the House of Lords. But in what they've done is because they've sandwiched it into one, you have to pass all or nothing.
Here's my next question, though. What does the bill actually say? Does it ban pro-Nazi protests? Because I would not be in favour of that either.
Yes,
because everybody
but it also
deserves a
bans
voice.
Pro-Palestinian ones.
Why should either of them be banned? I don't think either of them should be banned.
I don't think that we should be banning protests.
No, I don't.
I don't think we should be banning...
I don't care who's doing the protesting. As long as it's peaceful.
I don't think we should be banning protests because it's the
Don't
voice
get me
of the
wrong.
people.
I think it's incredibly distasteful, rude, and honestly, quite frankly, disgusting to walk through Tower Hamlets waving Nazi flags.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be illegal.
No, I don't think it should be illegal. And I think that once you start stifling the voice of the people, we've gone into some shit. We're in some shit. Go on.
So
You're excited. Say it. Just go on.
Right. So have you heard about this? What's it called? The Raise the Colours movement.
Nay.
So the Raise the Colour movement, or Operation Raise the Colours, however it's being described, is basically a wave, a sort of, I don't know if silent revolution is the correct phrase, where basically a load of people have decided that they're going to go up and put a load of British flags, Union flags and St. George's flags up.
When you said colours, I thought you meant like trooping the colours, like.
Yeah. That's what they're calling it.
Yeah,
the
colours. Yep.
And there's loads of clips now, the YouTube videos of Birmingham, people with like St. George's flags flying and on lampposts and stuff like that. And the council are taking them down. The council have said that the reason they're taking them down is, wait for it, health and safety.
Health and safety of what? If you're what?
Drivers. It's a health and safety risk for drivers. It makes no sense. They weren't taking down the Palestinian flags. Tower Hamlets prided itself on Palestinian flags, but they're taking down all the St. George's flags. They weren't bothered about all the other, like the Pakistan flags, the Islamic flags for Eid during Eid and stuff, and they shouldn't be taken down either. But the minute all of a sudden they're like, oh, flags are a health and safety risk just because it's the British flag or the England flag. There's both of them.
There's two things I do want to say about this.
Can I just interject there quick? Keir Starmer also did the same thing. He was like, yeah, go, I'm a patriot too. I supported women's football. Okay, whatever. State-sanctioned patriotism, right? Like patriotism, like football's the only time when you're allowed to be patriotic or something. The number 10 also put an English flag up in order to, I think. But Keir Starmer's been patriotic for years, yeah, when it fucking suits, when he sees the tide turning.
Keir Starmer,
anyway,
has not been patriot. Once he used to be a human rights lawyer who
defended all
his work history is there on the internet for people to read. Please don't be blinded by his bullshit. So two things. Firstly, I do have issues with the Union Jack, but that's because of
Union flag.
The Union flag, and that is about why can't I call it the Union Jack?
It's only called the Union Jack when it's flown at sea.
Shut up.
It's true.
Okay, fine. The Union Jack.
Flag.
So
flag.
I've always had issue with it, but that's due to colonization and being Jamaican. The British flag, the English flag, the St. George's flag, I have never had an issue with. I don't own one, but I also don't own a Jamaican flag. I own an Arsenal flag. And but I don't. My neighbour does. The man across the way does, and I don't have an issue with him waving it. Wave it because it's your right. Just like it's your right to wave the Union flag. I don't have to like it.
Like, that's really interesting because a lot of people don't like the England flag because they associate it with football hooliganism and all that, but do like the British flag because they see it as inclusive, so in terms of British citizens, as opposed to being ethnically English, and it includes the Welsh, the Scottish. So a lot of people think the British flag's inclusive and the English flag is just basically racist.
It's interesting because I grew up knowing that there's no black in the Union Jack. So that was the rhyme that I grew up with. So I guess it's perspective, yeah. But I've also never really had an issue with people flying it. We are in England, part of the British Union.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? It kind of is what it is. So for Keir Starmer, I think that Keir Starmer is anti-British, and I think he has purpose. I think our government over the past, because we discussed this, so since Tony Blair, really, 1997 have been eroding everything that makes this country. They've been eroding all the freedoms that we had. They've been eroding everything that makes this country, and we are going more towards an American society. But more towards an American society, but I mean it in the sense of what they currently have, as opposed to, except they have freedom. They have freedom. We don't have the freedom. We don't have.
I'm struggling to see.
I mean, like, in terms of we're going more towards like a. I guess it's a different kind of thing, because they also have state law as well. We don't have that, but England has always been the central part of the British Union.
Yeah.
We pay for everything and subsidise everything.
England subsidises
Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland, right?
Yeah.
But what they've done is, instead of like England as a whole, they started centralising more power into London. London is a country. A lot of people think that London is in fact a country. I saw a video on this recently, and this American guy going around asking people, "Oh, what's your favourite part of Britain?" Britain, and they're like, "You mean London?"
I think that's people just being, because I've had it before when I've sent them from the UK and people have gone, oh yeah, I've always wanted to go to London, or oh yeah, I'd love to come and visit you in London. I'm like, I never said London, I said the UK.
But the London though.
But that doesn't mean that they think it's a country.
But they've stopped dishing out the money. Look at where we live. Right? I went to see my parents last weekend. And I had a minute where I just stopped and looked around. The streets didn't have potholes. That's not to say that they don't, but all the money is just focused in London. And then now what they're doing with the people, the undesirables, if you will, is shipping them out to the rest of the country for the rest of the country to deal with.
But there's also a lot of undesirables in London, because like you said, it's the most famous part.
But what the councils in London are doing, because I didn't know this until I went to speak to my parents, is Croydon Council are shipping people as far as Cumbria.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know why I went, like I knew I didn't.
No, they are. They're shipping people out as far as Cumbria. So a lot of the people that come in homeless or seeking asylum and end up going into the, obviously you become responsible to the council, the area that you live in, because you have to go and sign in with the council. They're being sent to as far as Cumbria.
What you got to bear in mind as well, I don't know if you can be ethnically from a city specifically, or whether it's just more like ethnically countries, but a lot of people in Essex, a lot of the people presumably at the Epping protests, will be ethnically London. What's the word for London? Cockneys. Ethnically Cockney or whatever.
No, Cockney.
It's a specific part of London. Yeah. I know that, but
I know what you mean.
Specifically ethnically Londoners that have fled London and have had to move out because of ethnic conclaves moving in. They've had to flee. Again, I don't know if you can refer to a specific city as a homeland, but they've had to essentially flee from their homeland, their city, their place of origin, because of ethnic conclaves moving in and crime rates going up.
Happening in Birmingham. Look at
I know,
moved out. I remember, is it the 90s, early 2000s, people were moving out to Wolverhampton, Coventry, because living in Birmingham became untenable. For the simple
That's the word of the day. Go you. You've used it so many times.
Sorry. I look at society now and I'm just like, oof. So that's what they're doing. What we don't want to do, and what we've already seen, is Birmingham. I would never walk the streets of Birmingham. I've only ever been to Birmingham like twice. And every time I've looked around and I've been like, where am I? And I feel the same way about... That's not to... Listen, there's always going to be a time...
Londonistan.
There's always going to be places where people group together, all right? So Brixton, for example, a lot of Caribbeans moved to Brixton.
There's a place in London called Little Australia. Don't know if it still exists, but there was.
Do you know what? Little Venice is a place.
People like to be around people that are like them. That's always going to be the case. It's human nature. You can't blame anybody for that.
However, there's people that are like you, and then there's people that are like you along religious lines, and that's where the problem lies for me. It's not you immersing yourself into a society that already exists. It's you taking over a society.
True. However,
to force it to exist around you.
True. However, the counter argument to that, and I've heard this, would be, but if it's legal, if they've come in due to whatever, I mean, it's a free country, they can live where they want.
But also look at that, because then there's also because don't get me wrong, this is also an issue within there's bigger things at play here, because I look at our healthcare system and I look at, and this is no disrespect, but it's just fact. Pakistanis who closely marry, into families, produce children who are more likely to have disabilities. Those disabilities are being paid for by British taxpayers.
4% of the population, Pakistanis, account for a third of all the birth defects in this country. We need to start having open and honest conversations. Because Muhammad married his cousin. Prophet Muhammad married his cousin, therefore it's acceptable. It's something like 76%. This was on a trigonometry interview I got the statistic for. I haven't fact checked it. But 76% of Pakistanis in this country marry their first cousins.
producing birth defects, which is then producing drains on the government. We need to really have a serious conversation about what's happening right now. And then I saw that there was a protest, the Pro-Palestine Action protest in London, in which somewhere between like 532 and 522 people were arrested. Where have you put those people, considering the jails are full?
Supposedly. But you've got enough room to bang up political dissenters whenever you feel necessary, but you've got no space to be locking up actual paedophiles, actual sexual assault perpetrators, rapists, murderers, terrorists. But some guy that's got a problem with all of the above, we can bang him up for 2 years for something he posted on Twitter.
Paedophiles get 6 months in this country. It doesn't make any sense. This is what I'm trying to say.
And they wonder why we're all sat here going 2-tier policing. And they're like, what?
I'm just seeing that I can see why it is that those that can afford to move are moving. I can see why it is that those that can afford to move are currently moving. I'd move too. If you know what I mean. If the situation were different, I'd also be fleeing Britain.
Can I just say that one of my friends recently came to the UK for a week from the US, never been to the UK before, only been to Mexico a couple of times and Canada once, so never really been outside of the US. And it was really interesting for me, because I was very sort of sceptical. Well, I know I sound very sceptical in this video anyway, but
shock horror.
Taking him to various places in the south, taking him up to the Lake District, various other places around the UK, and seeing the UK for the first time through his perspective, it just kind of made me kind of fall in love with my country again. Because there are lots of incredible places in the UK, and he commented on things that are so natural to me, that are so alien to him, like when I pull over to let somebody pass in the car, they wave, I wave back. And he commented that every single person, regardless of what part of the country, waved. You know that, I know that, it's what we do. They don't do it in the US, or at least they certainly don't do it in Colorado. And there's certain things like the ability to just be able to strike up a conversation with people, and look how beautiful the cute little walls are that separate the fields. They don't have fences. Even the hedges is something between the farmland fields is something new and interesting and different.
To be fair, now that you mention it,
I caught him taking a picture of the corner shop.
Yeah, now that you mention it, because you remember when he was stood in my garden going, wow. And I was like, the hedges? Yeah, I understand that. And I'm not trying to say, this is what I'm trying to say. Britain is not a terrible place, but we're losing the things that make Britain a great place. Do you know what I mean? It's easy when you go on a tourist tour, right? To go and look at those things. People want to go to London because the Tower of London's there and all the rest of it. We go to Scotland a lot because Scotland's beautiful. Scotland's my favourite place in the UK as a whole, even Glasgow. It's great to do those things, but in your day-to-day, everyday life, you're not doing that. In the communities that you live, you're not seeing that. Yeah. And I don't mean to sound cynical about stuff, but I am. Because I look around my day-to-day, I look around the town that I live in, and I'm like, why is it that I live in a town, we all pay it, this town is no longer in a situation where people don't work. It used to be, where a lot of people just didn't work, they would just claim welfare. It's not like that now. A lot more people in this town pay taxes. We're paying taxes. The MPs are getting pay rise upon pay rise upon pay rise. Yet during the COVID situation, what we saw was that you needed nurses and doctors. Now you got those nurses, but there aren't any jobs for them because the government has put a cobwash on hiring. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I'm just like, we have taken everything that made Britain amazing and just fucked it.
Shat on it.
Yeah. And I'm just like, there's no reason for people to be sexually repressed anymore because the government's fucking you every day. And we shouldn't have to deal with that. Like, we shouldn't. As a society that has a welfare system, which is for the people that are supposedly paying for it, we have a situation wherein the people that started the welfare system now can't get any welfare on it. The people that worked to put into the pension pot, they're now fucked. They can't afford electric bills because that's going up. That's going up. It went up in July and it's going up in October. When it's cold as fuck in this country, you can't afford to heat your house. Battery low.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, 100%.
I'm just upset.
Anyway, let's leave it at that. As always, I'm sure you guys are going to let us know what you think in the comments, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Let us know if you agree or disagree with any of our views. That's the point of the conversation. Join in.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.